Iran says it will increase the use of what it calls upgraded weapons to target U.S.-linked energy infrastructure in the region. The threat is a response to Donald Trump's ultimatum to stop blocking the energy shipping chokepoint, the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. president is threatening to take out Iran's oil network on Kharg Island that is responsible for 90% of its fuel exports. The U.S. military has struck the Iranian energy hub, Mr. Trump claiming to have obliterated every military target there while leaving the oil infrastructure intact. Meanwhile, the U.S. embassy in Baghdad was struck by a missile just a day after it renewed its highest security alert for Iraq. An Iranian-backed militia has reportedly claimed responsibility. No casualty has been reported. And Olly Barratt is reporting with CNN, and he joins us live from Erbil in Iraq. Olly, thank you for joining us. Reports of more potential strikes on other Iranian islands. Are there signs that a U.S. ground operation is imminent?
Well, when it comes to Kharg Island, it may well be that the U.S. strategy here is partly aimed at the future securing in some way of the Strait of Hormuz to make sure that more shipping can move through it, more oil supplies can therefore get into the global economy as well, and try and keep the price of oil lower than some are predicting it could go. And there are other islands in the region controlled by Iran that are also potentially useful in that regard with a view to the future. We've seen at least one of those islands, according to the Iranians at least, have an attack on a desalination plant there earlier in the conflict, for example. But we also have those overnight reports that the US is potentially deploying several thousand Marines to the region. Now, they would take a week or two, probably two, to get there, but they could potentially also be being viewed through that prism as well. The idea that the Americans would like, if they can, to try and start securing the ability for shipping to move through more the Strait of Hormuz. And when it comes back to Kharg Island, some of that may have something to do with the potential use by the Iranians of Kharg for mine-laying operations and that kind of thing. So these are important islands. Iran is saying if our oil infrastructure there or anywhere else is damaged, then we will start attacking oil infrastructure linked to American interests across the region.
Now, Olly, I want to talk about the attack on the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. Does that signal a widening conflict involving more Iranian proxies?
Indeed, a strike of some sort on the U.S. embassy in Baghdad in the very heavily fortified green zone of the city. We are getting slightly conflicting reports about the damage caused or otherwise. Early reports suggested that potentially some air defense systems at the embassy may have been damaged. That has been denied by some sources. It appears that the strike hit a helipad at the embassy. The embassy, a well-known target at a time like this, but it followed actually strikes carried out by the Americans in Baghdad on Iran-linked militia groups. Now, we've seen increasingly in recent days that the Americans have been carrying out operations like that in other parts of Iraq as well. The US is very annoyed at Baghdad that it hasn't been able to rein in some of those Iran-backed militia groups that operate inside Iraq, because they have been launching attacks on American interests and indeed on Kurdistan interests here in the northern part of the country. So this is really a developing part of this conflict, and one to very much keep an eye on over the coming days, because increasingly the Americans seem to be getting very cross with Baghdad. Baghdad, for its part, also very angry with America for attacks inside Iraq, which it believes breach its sovereignty.
Many thanks for that update, Olly Barratt, there reporting for CNN in Erbil, Iraq. As the conflict escalates, attention is turning to a small island in the Persian Gulf, Kharg Island. It sits off Iran's southern coast and is the country's main oil export terminal. Iran has relied on the island since the 1960s to ship crude to global markets. The island was also a key target during the tanker war of the 1980s, when ships loading oil here were attacked during the Iran-Iraq conflict. Pipelines from major inland oil fields feed into storage tanks here, where oil is loaded onto tankers. About 90% of Iran's crude exports pass through Kharg Island. Now, much of that crude is believed to go to China. often carried by tankers that bypass Western sanctions. Analysts say any serious damage to the island's infrastructure could disrupt a large share of Iran's oil exports, and that could ripple through global energy markets.